Redditors who got married too soon. What did you find out about your so after it was too late? Not me, but a cousin found out her fiance was cheating on her the night before her wedding. His response was, "This is how the world works. Grow up." The only person she told was my sister, and she was too scared to cancel anything the day of. My sister didn't tell me until we had left the area. Probably a wise choice. I have a temper and the buff fiance would have likely kicked my butt, so nobody could do anything. The marriage, thank God, only lasted about 2 months or so. The best part was my near comatose grandmother hearing about it, getting out of her chair and saying, "I'm gonna kill that son of a b." That's an awesome grandma. Got married to the wrong person when I was way too naive and inexperienced. Found out after we had divorced that he'd been banging his stepmom since he was 15. I think I read that guy's AMA a few weeks back. My ex-wife was bipolar with suicidal tendencies. When we fought it progressively got worse until she started threatening to kill herself over just about anything. I divorced her 4 years ago. She killed herself in March. I feel a tremendous amount of guilt, even though I may not have been able to change what seemed like the inevitable. As a recently married person, this thread is hella depressing and I need to leave now. I was going to post something about how my wife leaves dirty dishes around and doesn't clean up after herself, but now I think I'm just going to go give her a hug. You are wise. He was bad with money. Imagine getting your paycheck, spending $60 on weed, then buying a Wii, maybe an Xbox, some games, not used, I mean new games, maybe even a game that comes with night vision goggles, then spending more money on yourself because I work hard. I deserve to enjoy my paycheck. Then imagine being 10 months behind on rent with your cable and cell phones turned off, being over $1,000K in debt to the gas and electric companies respectively. Do that for over a decade, never getting better. My rent has been on time for over a year now. My car payment is on time. My bills are paid and I can sleep at night. I have hardly any money left over, but I don't care. It's better this way. He was a lying, lazy, selfish slob who wanted a housekeeper and breadwinner. We didn't have the opportunity to live together. I didn't get to meet his family. He pretended to like everything I liked and wooed me with beautiful songs. Dropped all pretense after we married. Wanted to quit work so he could work on his music. Dude, you're good, but not that good or that motivated. Wanted 2 bedrooms. Intimacy? I'll just go to your room and do my business. Business frick you. I'm outta here. TLDR. Fell for a honey voice pretender. I'll just go to your room and do my business. When your word for lovemaking is the same as for going to the bathroom, you've got a problem. The act would be done in your bedroom, which makes it appear even more to be the bathroom, where the evacuation takes place. While dating, she seemed to be an industrious, independent woman. Now all she wants to do is quit her job so she can sit at home, clean and cook for maybe an hour a day, and read erotic vampire novels. Seriously. I keep asking my GF if I can do this. She refuses me to. Those erotic novels don't read themselves, you know. I'm late to the thread, but my wife would say it was my drug addiction. I hid it from her, then about a year into our marriage she found out. It was pretty fricked up of me to hide something like that from her. She stayed with me when she could have left. We are happy as we have ever been now, and I am not living a lie anymore. Not me, but my brother. He and his ex-wife were living with her parents trying to save money to buy a house. After 6 years or so they should have had about $80,000 in the bank account that she controlled. He looked one day and there was $7,000 in there. She was a closet gambler and POA $73,000. He didn't even know their wedding was paid for on credit cards. That she was way too immature to deal with real life issues because she never had to deal with things on her own. She went from relying on her parents to working a dead-end job, eventually quitting that, to relying on me. The first 6 years were great, then crap hit the fan. It all went downhill from there. She liked dongs. Lots of dongs. Dongs that didn't belong to me. Did you say if you had as many dongs sticking out of you as you have had stuck in you, you would look like a porcupine? That despite him seeming like a modern man when I met him, washing his share of the dishes and cooking, and apparently liking me for being a non-traditional, non-housewifely woman. That was just his courtship personality. As soon as we got married and bought an apartment, we had lived together for a year before marriage, he suddenly revealed that he expected me to do far more of the housework than him, although we both worked the same hours, and he would bully me into accepting all his decisions about everything, and getting angry if I ever disagreed with him. When I finally left him, he said, "How can you not be happy with me? I never hit you," which to me kind of said it all. Courtship personality. That's a good way to put it. I'll have to remember that one. My husband started out with the fantasy of wife swapping. We talked about it often. I wasn't really into it, but he persisted. He told me I was boring and we needed to spice things up. He went on websites and chatted up other couples. Fast forward a couple of years, he put naked pictures of me on AF, used my real name, chatted up guys all the time telling them I was good in bed even though I was too curvy. I had zero self-confidence left. I'm finally leaving him, but the only reason I'm still alive is that I have a son and I don't want him to grow up thinking about women the way his father does. My wife and I got married after knowing each other 5 months. I found out pretty quick that she was insanely jealous. I literally couldn't turn my head without her coming unglued. It didn't help that I was something of a pig. Good news, we worked it out and are still happily married, almost 39 years now. She is still the most beautiful woman I've ever met and is my best friend as well as my wife. 3 kids and 7 grandkids as well. People can change if you give them a chance. It sort of feels as though his wife came into the room at the end of the first paragraph. When my brother married, he discovered that my sister-in-law likes to clean a lot. She found out that my brother is extremely messy and is grouchy all the time, not just when he is hungry, but they are actually happy. Now she is a little bit less obsessed with cleaning everything and he is much cleaner. Serious response: that he has severe anger issues and Dr. Jekyll MR hides on me regularly. I have told him that he needs to seek help or we need to go to counseling together. He refuses. I'm a mental health nurse, but he needs hardcore therapy beyond our 4 walls. This morning, he woke up BC the cat was scratching the carpet, proceeded to yell at me for 30 minutes, stomp around the house searching for the cat so he can skin her and hang her from a tree. I asked him several times to stop yelling. He said that I should be as upset as he is. I wasn't. He put his ring on the dresser and is now sleeping downstairs. He wanted my rings back. They are sitting on the dresser next to his. The next move is his. I've told him his anger would be the end of us and it seems he's made his choice. If he refuses counseling, then there's nothing more you can do. If you don't leave now, you might look back in 30 years at the life you wasted. I'd have to say that I found out too late that I had anger issues I developed from the way my parents raised me, but thanks to my so they are nearly gone. Less. Didn't marry too soon, but definitely too young and mature. He was anyway. Ex and I married at 25. Life got tricky at 30 with our first kid. He'd been driving force behind having kids, but didn't like how it changed our lifestyle. Second kid at 32, was born very sick and nearly died. He couldn't cope, and started affair with woman at work. Escaped within 18 months, ran off with her. Left me holding the bag with a disabled kid. He married that woman from work, and he's finally grown up now, is 46. They have an adopted kid, but also a full-time nanny and tons of household help, and money. They don't have the daily life stresses we'd had. He's trying to be involved with our kids, but is mostly uncle daddy and buys them stuff. Frick that guy. He was abusive, and controlling, and just overall freaking insane. Like throwing a hissy fit in the grocery store because I wouldn't buy him stuff to make iced tea. Insane. Now I look back and I should have seen the warning signs, but you never think your husband is going to choke slam you on the kitchen floor for a disagreement over a chicken recipe. He also slept with one of my friends, although I never confronted either of them about it because I didn't even give a crap and was ready to end my life at that point. Then he left me and it was freaking awesome. It was the nicest thing he's ever done for me. Although it's sad that the nicest thing he ever did for you is ditching you. I'm really happy that you're better off. I hope you're loving your life now. Time to quit lurking and actually post. I married a man I'd been dating for 3 months because on our second date he broke down and confided that we was dying of terminal leukemia. He said he wanted to make the most of his remaining months and marry me. Being 23 and dumb, I believed him without asking for any proof and said yes. My family all rallied behind me, believing him to be a dying man, and threw us an incredible wedding even though they barely knew the guy. He refused treatment, playing the wish to die with dignity card, and finally after 4 months of marriage and no decline in his health, I confronted him. It was a lie, an elaborate lie. My husband is a sociopath and pathological liar. Wish I'd known that. We used to be very good at keeping a clean house. Then work hours increase and we both just slowly gave up. Not hoarder level give up, but more like foul bachelor frog gave up. Laundry gets washed but not folded sort of thing. We both went into this thinking we were cleanly and instead we both ended up being lazy. But at least we're in it together. And we're both miserable in a dirty house but neither one of us wants to clean it. So we can't really be upset at the other because it is our problem. But I can see where if one of us was different this could have been a huge problem. Instead we just order more pizza. Well, there's always pizza box forwards, so you guys got that going for you, which is nice. She's better with money than I ever imagined. She actually gets more beautiful as she ages. She's a better mother than I could have hoped for. She's generally more patient than I am. She's responsible like an adult should be. She's carefree in all the right ways, and she butches through a job she hates to help support our family. She's willing to talk about things, even when she doesn't want to. Sometimes, she lets me be little spoon, and I'm almost 7 inches taller than she is. It's too late to go back, and that's 100% a-okay with me. Met him at 17, married at 19, first kid at 20, 10 years of working when I could, having 4 more kids and helping him through college, writing papers for him when he couldn't, getting us in classes I wasn't taking. When his diploma came in the mail he looked at me and said, "I know I said when I was finished it would be your turn, but I don't think you are smart enough for college. I don't need you anymore, so I'm moving in with my girlfriend." TLDR. After 10 years and 5 kids learned my husband was a narcissist. After telling me he had a honorable discharge from the Marines I found out that was a lie and he had been in the brig for 18 months and had a temper that burned like 1,000 suns. As soon as I found out the truth the sweet man I married turned into a monster and I fled. It took 5 years to finalize the divorce and I moved out of the country after he showed up at my work with a knife. I now live in Canada and have remarried after 10 years of trust issues. In my experience someone's personality isn't fully developed until they turn about 25 or so. What you like at 21 might be completely different than what you like at 25 and you might turn out to be completely incompatible. When I think about my ex-wife now I can't even imagine what I ever saw in her. But at 21 she was exactly what I thought I always wanted. Nothing. Not a damn thing did I find out after it was too late. It was all there before, and I realized it, but the wheels were already spinning, and I didn't have the guts at the time to call it off, and decided instead to ride it out. Kids, do not do what I did. Heed warning signs. That she likes to get the toothpaste out of the top of the tube instead of squeezing it out at the bottom. Every day as I brush my teeth I am yelling at her in my head. Divorce her immediately. You don't want to look back in 5 years time and wish you hadn't divorced her sooner. She has god-awful flatulence that will peel the paint off the walls and make a grown man beg for mercy. She's at her worst between 2 to 3 AM and let me tell you, I know it's coming and I really don't sleep well anymore because of it. During this time I've become quite religious, hoping to find salvation from any deity really. Maybe one of them will save me from this stinky heck this woman emits. There might be something in her diet she can change to reduce. Stop that. I stupidly got married to a woman I just met as a way of saying goodbye to a world I'd become disappointed in, my old mates, a career that had grown stale and a gorgeous but ultimately boring long-term live-in girlfriend. My new wife dropped all pretenses a month into our marriage, refusing to sleep with me, spending all day in bed on the phone and, ultimately, moving to the States to find work. Fortunately, she agreed to a divorce shortly afterwards. That he did in fact want children. We'd been together for 4 years before we got married and he knew how serious I was about not wanting kids and always told me he felt the same. Then, literally weeks after the wedding, he started dropping "when we have children" into conversations with others. I confronted him about it and he gave me this really blank look and said, "But we're married now. We're not together anymore." I had to bring my girlfriend over to read this one, then promise that I would never do such a thing. She doesn't want children, and while I always pictured myself having them, I can certainly see the upsides of not procreating. He is about as empathic as a goldfish. Last Monday I received the news an acquaintance of mine was murdered by her ex-boyfriend and her body was found by her young daughter, the little girl I used to babysit. His response: "What do you want me to say? I don't know these people and I don't care. I don't know why I even try." When my now wife's grandmother died early in our relationship, I felt nothing for her grandmother, who I'd met for 20 minutes once, but I felt sympathy for my wife and comforted her. That he could lie to me just as easily as he ever has to anyone else. We married a month after I turned 20 because he was about to deploy. A few months ago, found out that he'd been smoking for over a year and had managed to build up a decent amount of credit card debt on mostly online gaming purchases. Big fight that one. He'd had problems as a kid and teen, not a great family life, emotionally abusive father when he was young, and he was really good at lying. I guess I thought that because he loves me, it would be all different and he'd never lie to me. I learned. However, with that said, I want to say what an absolutely amazing man I married. The things he did, yeah, they happened. But since they've happened, he has made unbelievable strides towards changing. When I finally found out about him smoking and the credit card debt, he broke down and admitted that he had some problems and that he understood that what he was doing was hurting our marriage. He's switched to e-cigs and is working his way down to no nicotine. His credit card is sitting in the bedside table and I'm the one who opens the bills now so that there are no secrets. I verify a lot of the financial information he gives me as far as what's been spent, but he doesn't mind and tells me every time. It's not perfect. There have been mess ups. But I am so blessed to know that while he is not the perfect man, he loves me enough and values me enough to want to change what he's doing because he knows it hurts me. We married way too young, but we're growing up together, and I think when we're a little ways further down the road, it's going to be a beautiful marriage. I got married to a girl in like 3rd grade. Some say we rushed into it. Needless to say, she only soon after was seen kissing a kid in my class. The marriage only lasted that lunch period. What a W. My wife has never seen Star Wars, any of them. We have 2 framed Star Wars posters in our living room and she doesn't understand them. We sat down to watch A New Hope and she fell asleep. She freaking fell asleep. I was 16. I didn't know he was in a religious cult that believed in a woman's submission to her husband. Leaving the cult got me shunned by every friend I've ever made. I didn't get married too soon, but I learned after marrying my husband that the reason I never heard him pass gas was because, and I quote, "I wasn't gonna chance you hearing me fart. You still had the chance to leave. We are married now. I don't give a frick. The amount of gas that erupts from his butt on a daily basis should be in the Guinness Book of World Records." That he would not communicate about anything, whatever I wanted, whatever I needed. Too freaking bad for me. If I asked for anything, it was a fight. We were married at 20 and we're divorcing at 42. Nobody can say I didn't try. I found out my now ex was schizophrenic. I actually found out after we were married almost 8 years and after our divorce was finalized. He acted normally, a bit quirky at times, but I didn't care. Something really chafed towards the end, but he wouldn't talk to me or seek help. He confessed after the divorce that he had been hearing voices since he was a teenager. How do you not tell someone this before you get married? Once married and once in a long-term relationship. The marriage, just that we were different people. There was a strong attraction, but she just wanted to watch soaps on telly, wanted me to do a low-value job, basically wanted a barely working class lifestyle, while I wanted to get educated, own a house, go holidays, etc. She found someone else after we split and is living that life now. Long-term relationship. That basically she wanted to be the little wifey with lots of kids, stay home mom, etc. Not wrong with that apart from pretending she wanted the same as me. I found out when the pill malfunctioned. I eventually realized about 4 years later when she had another 2 kids to 2 separate baby daddies. Her cunning plan appeared to be keep the relationship sweet until she managed to get pregnant, then demand to get married. She managed the wedding on the 3rd. She's happy now. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.